YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Shogun 2, where we're going to be watching Prussian Prince face off against Veni, Vidi, Vici. This is the Chaos Riders tournament that you have seen previously on my channel, and this is still round 1. And the battle has loaded up. I was trying to tab in, so that's why it was a little bit weird. So yeah, over here in the red and black, we've got Agony Prussian Prince, and then over here in kind of the black and yellow, we've got Veni, Vidi, Vici. Let's kind of check out the army builds. Most players have been bringing pretty similar armies, it seems like, with 4 Yariki and then a Revolver Cav. Sometimes people have brought Saber Cav and other stuff, but let's just kind of take a look. The 4 Yariki are here. There's 2 Red Bear out there, long way out here, working their way towards Shrine. Important thing to capture, though. Farmhouse and then Archery Dojo on the far left, relative to Prussian Prince. Looks like we've got 3 White Bears right there, a Black Tortoise Force across the lake, U.S. Marine up in the woods, backed up by a Red Bear, and there's another Red Bear running for the Archery Dojo. And you can only have max 4 of the same unit, so let's see. I'm seeing 1 Revolver Cav, 2 Yariki here. Let's see, Red Bear, Black Tortoise, Black Bear, White Bear. It's just a mix of red, Black Tortoise Force. Yeah, I mean, so no elite infantry that can be seen for Veni, Vidi, Vici. Now, he may have units hidden in the woods. Now, at this point, you can see what's happening here. He is compressing all of his forces towards one flank of Prussian Prince, because Prussian Prince is spread out all the way up here to the side of the map. So I'm thinking Prussian Prince would probably be well served to pull back from this. But he doesn't have the cavalry support over here to help the withdrawal. But I mean, if he starts now, he can kind of cover that retreat maybe with the U.S. Marines. But we'll see. He does have the red line to his favor here. It's going to be hard for cavalry to get around him, though he could lose the Archery Dojo without being able to pressure it more. He will pick up the Shrine and the Farmhouse, so that'll help his guys move quicker, but the loss of the Archery Dojo could be a big deal. But no movement yet to... Whoa, right there. So U.S. Marines picking up a nice shot. 18 kills on the Red Bear Infantry for free. Looks like they got 5 of those cavalrymen there, too, and they're going to fall back. Revolver Cav, White Bear. I can understand why they're falling back. It's a bit of a precarious situation. Prussian Prince is still kind of way back here with a bunch of his Yariki. Definitely sitting back, but it looks like he's going to move these forces over there. So a Yariki, he's got his general as well. So the U.S. Marine putting another volley out, up to 42 kills now with no response possible from the enemy because their range is not as good. But very nice volley here from the White Bears. The Red Bears getting hammered. They're down about 40 men. But the U.S. Marine here, 77 kills. And it's going to kite away from this Red Bear Infantry. And then this Black Tortoise Force has a very nice volley right there on the Revolver Cav. That's huge for Prussian Prince. Decimating the Revolver Cav, though the gun general here is going to get a few shots back. But the Revolver Cav of Prussian Prince, oh, right there on the hill, perfectly placed, destroying the Revolver Cav for Veni, Vidi, Vici. So that's a big important move there for Prussian Prince. Very patient with this flank despite being outnumbered, but there is only limited maneuvering room over here. So to the credit of Prussian Prince, he's potentially using kind of a bottleneck situation, and he does have very good terrain right here in the forest. Very good terrain. Last time I listened back to this, it seemed like the sound was a little bit low too, so I will I'll crank up the master on this just a bit. But yeah, he does have, like I said, very nice position here in the woods. His guys have cover. He's going to be able to pressure this gun general back. That is I don't know if it's a full gun gen, but it's all the way up to, oh, gets plastered. 15 men lost right there, 16 men. So the gun general, which was being pretty helpful, just gets absolutely hammered by the White Bear. Gun general is sometimes useful, but a very risky unit. So down 40 men on the U.S. Marines now, but 130 some odd kills, just absolutely wrecking these standard line infantry. And now with the support of this Black Tortoise Force and the White Bear Infantry, some cavalry moving up for Prussian Prince, though under some pretty heavy fire back here from the Black Tortoise. And this infantry not really ready to put any pressure here, but these two units might be able to keep some pressure. Let's see if the Yariki meets its mark. It is going to probably get a little overwhelmed over here. That's a pretty upgraded Black Bear infantry. It's 150 range Black Bear infantry. Interesting unit. You're not going to see that kind of thing too often. The 150 range standard infantry and a Boki over here that I missed earlier. The 150 range Boki getting some work done. Only 17 kills. But using its long range here. The Yariki, though, is going to break through. The Boki being thrown into melee to hold the Yariki. But Prussian Prince seems to be achieving a breakthrough here as U.S. Marines clutching out 245 kills so far. I think his killing of that revolver cavalry was a very big deal for Prussian Prince. That was a very nicely executed destruction of the enemy revolver cav. And getting a unit like that off the battlefield is definitely freeing you from one potential danger. So we'll see what happens. Let's see here. White Bear Infantry. Yeah, at this point, I mean, there's pretty much no prayer for Veni, Vidi, Vici. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. Or actually, let's just get some close-ups because the battles are very pretty. And someone suggested that I cut in and out between the battles so that it doesn't give away how many games there's going to be, and I can do that. But yeah, at this point, the troops of Veni, Vidi, Vici being routed off the battlefield. I think that's the 150 range Black Bear. Could be wrong. But yeah, it's getting absolutely wrecked. So unfortunately for him, his troops are not going to be able to hold the line here, though they do turn around and get some nice shots into Prussian Prince's Yariki. Is that the remnants of the gun general out here? It is. And that revolver cavalry for Prussian Prince finishing off what was left of the gun general. So, yep, let's get some close-up shots of these revolver. And I will be back to show you the second battle. So right now it's 1-0 for Prussian Prince. And I will see you all in the second battle. All right, hope you're ready for Battle 2. This one's going to be at the Ishiyama Ruins. This is kind of an interesting map. It's kind of like the big X or plus sign, I guess, however you want to look at it. So you deploy on diagonals on it. You kind of deploy on low ground, have to come up a little bit, and there's kind of just like some flat terrain in the center, a little bit of woods in different spots too that can create some interesting points there. So all right, let's see here what we got going on. So let's check out Prussian Prince's army again. I'm guessing it's going to be similar. This is a pretty competitive build for the rules of this tournament, and I'm expecting that we're going to see pretty much the same build every time from these players. And it is. There's just a Royal Marine here instead of a U.S. Marine. Otherwise, the build is very comparable. Some Black Tortoise Force and then some Bear Infantry, 4 Yariki, and a Revolver Cav. Let's see if there's anything wildly different over here. So can't change the general, so it's still a gun gen. You can only have 1 Revolver Cav, and it's there. And we're seeing another Boki here. Now, the only thing that Boki really have going for them is long range. But I'm also seeing 4 Yariki. No, it's going to be 3 Yariki because the Boki is there. Now, that's an interesting choice to give up a Yariki for a Boki. Let's see what dojos are out here. So, workshop, not huge, but potentially useful. The shrine being close to, yeah, there's a shrine and a farmhouse pretty close to Veni, Vidi, Vici, but a sword dojo, that could be handy for cavalry engagements, and a workshop. So, I mean, infantry engagements would go very well for Prussian Prince at this point, but I mean, when I say infantry, I mean melee engagements. No one has an archery dojo, but the shrine, I think, going to Veni, Vidi, Vici is going to be a bigger benefit to him than these other buildings would be for Prussian Prince. He is in control of the workshop now, and he's also in control of the sword dojo. The shrine should be, it's actually not captured, but it is being captured. So it's shortly going to be in control of Veni, Vidi, Vici, and he has the farmhouse, so his guys will be moving slightly faster. So let's just kind of see how this battle is set up here. Just kind of see where everybody has certain unit stations. So long-range infantry kind of moving over towards a flank for Prussian Prince. Let's see if there's any long-range black bears in the center this time. I do not see any elite infantry here for Veni, Vidi, Vici, which is interesting. They're not visible at the moment if he has them. It's all standard line infantry with the gun general. I do believe the gun... Does the gun general... I thought that he... Yeah, there are bonuses to the reload skill on some of these guys. So that I think that may be an effect from the gun general. I can't remember what all effects the gun general has, but honestly, there's some pretty good terrain position over here for Veni, Vidi, Vici. He's got this hill and the forest to fire from. Let's check out the terrain here in the center. This is long-range open terrain. I would think that this would be a good spot for Prussian Prince to use as long range, but this hill does kind of provide a spot for that to be countered a little bit. And let's see where he's moving his long range to. When he moves his long range unit over here, they should have a nice open line of sight control. But this hill right here could provide his opponent with a good spot to hide from those long range units and try and take the engagement on more favorable terms for himself. Not seeing any engagement yet though, so both players kind of playing it safe. Let's fast forward until we do get some kind of engagement, because I see this being a bit of a stalemate here. So I'm just going to plow on through this. Let's see what's happening. The Boki probably is the one coming forward. It's going to try and get some pot shots here with its longer range. Let's see if it's successful. It's straying dangerously close to the gun range here of these white bears, but it is keeping itself clear. And I do not believe that cavalry has Parthian shot on Shogun 2. I believe that bow cavalry has to fire while facing forward. I don't guess the Japanese ever picked up on Parthian tactics. I don't even know if Parthian shot was something that actually happened, for that matter. So I don't know if I could fire a bow over my back on a horse, but maybe someone else could. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a stalemate. Neither player is going to want to march into what the other one has here, and I can't say I blame him. And now look at this. Prussian Prince actually moving his Royal Marines all the way to the other side of the battlefield to face up against this hill. That's an interesting choice, because if there's units hidden in there, he can't see them, which would mean his long range would go underutilized. But now it looks like he's moving them up towards this patch of forest. A little bit of feinting here with some revolver cavalry. One kill for the Boki, so nothing substantial at this point. Now Prussian Prince controls this big line of sight here. Yeah, so from his position, he can hit most everything there. Really, that cone. Yeah, as he repositions there, I think that'll more effectively utilize that big arc of fire that he's got with those elite units. I say that. It might block the line of sight a little bit towards the top of the hill, but maybe not. He's covering as much ground as he can, and that kind of puts some pressure on the shrine. Not a ton, but it does put some pressure there. Let's go ahead and fast forward and see what the next moves are for each player. A lot of jockeying for position here, because first shots and position's going to be everything, and these Marines technically had range there, but I don't think they had line of sight. And the Boki is trying to punish them for that, but it better be careful. Better be real careful. Yep, there we go, because that Boki will get insta-wrecked by the Royal Marines. Units do have to do a lot of reforming, especially since players are kind of forced to keep them in spaghetti lines in order to maximize firepower. So there's a lot of reforming. Units move a little bit funny, and that's just something that you have to be good at managing. It's one of the other aspects of being a successful player in these Fall of the Samurai tournaments, is just knowing when to move something, how to move it, how to get it reformed. A few kills here on the Boki. Gets away without... Ooh, no, the shots come off even though they moved out of range, so they lost 5 men. Definitely not really a worthwhile trade on the Boki. Only having a 25 range advantage is difficult to use sometimes. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it is. Now the Royal Marine being placed back in the center, and it's, yeah, the Royal Marine is exhausted from having run around the battlefield, so those guys might want to sit still and take a breather. Prussian Prince pushing them aggressively now in the center. And he does have the line of sight to get this done here. But he's pulling back again because the Boki. I think he had line of sight there. He's going to turn around and fire. That Boki better truck it. Too late. So the Boki ate that, and then also a couple of black bears died from that volley. I'm kind of thinking he ought to leave those guys right there. I think they can get shots off. They may not be able to. Let's see what their line of sight. Yeah, I think they can get shots off over here on the edges of those units. Could potentially make a push. The workshop was captured. It was originally Prussian Prince's, but I'm guessing he's not terribly worried about the workshop. 20 kills, though, on that Royal Marine there. Definitely a big-time stalemate. Let's see. Prussian Prince did move into range. His guys are not firing, though, so I guess my idea there was moot point. Okay, the Boki is firing and killing Royal Marines at this point, so that is definitely a worthwhile trade for the Boki. 5 Royal Marines got killed there. There it is. So that's the volley that Prussian Prince wanted, just wrecking the Black Bear infantry. And he's going to pull back because he wants to get away from that Boki. And it is dropping a few of his Royal Marines, but oh, the Boki. Yeah, it's going to get wrecked on pretty hard right there. So the Boki's combat effectiveness is greatly reduced at this point. Oh, and then a volley over here from the White Bear infantry. So this Black Bear infantry getting savaged pretty badly at this point. It's going to start to create a weak spot in the army. Now the Boki here still being pesky. Let's see what happens. This is a long battle. Definitely a long battle. I'm going to kind of fast forward a little bit more. We're seeing a bit more of an engagement here. There is a revolver cav here in the center. It's, oh, wow. Yeah, these guys just got wrecked there. But 2 units to 1. We'll see how that goes. The revolver cav taking almost all the stray shots right there and getting unnecessarily wrecked before it can get anything done. So once again, the revolver cav, Veni, Vidi, Vici, getting wrecked a little bit early. These 2 units bunched on top of each other. If this other unit would have been a little further down the hill, it could have fired over the top of it, but this one can't. That creates an opening right here for the cavalry. Prussian Prince is going to get a nice flanking charge with his cavalry. Now the revolver cav has a chance to be painful here, but it gets, well, it did fire. It fired point blank, but now the Yariki is going to catch and destroy them, and these infantry are gone. So I'm guessing at this point that that's going to give the Prussian Prince a decisive advantage, but the shrine is controlled by his opponent. Sometimes the shrine can sway a lot of morale, so we'll see. But the Royal Marine here being very effective, 180 kills so far using its long range. And nice disruption of the Red Bear infantry here. But that White Bear infantry in the back is definitely going to mop up his Yariki. But friendly cash, or look at that. These guys were red morale, even with only 3 men lost. Getting tagged here on the flank by these units. So now there is a lot of infantry over here, plus a gun general. So this flank, I would say, is a little bit weak, but this flank very strong for Prussian Prince, though these units are probably out of position. But probably not going to be the end of the world there either. Lots of wavering over here. Lots of wavering. Prussian Prince's general, I never really looked at, but it's a, looks like it's a command general with a gun. So his guys probably should be getting slightly increased morale. And then the men for... yeah, the men for Veni, Vidi, Vici would not have the extra morale. And so I'm guessing even with the shrine, this could be a potential problem for him. Plus, the Royal Marine is inspiring some of the troops. This is a Red Bear infantry shooting point blank with the Black Bear infantry. The Black Bear will have better shooting stats, but the Red Bear did get the first volleys. Let's check this out too here. A Red Bear trading shots with another Red Bear across the way. Wonder where the gun general ended up at. Not quite sure. He's over here trying to take some shots. Gun generals can cause a lot of damage if they get the opportunity, but it's more difficult to pull off against the highly skilled players. And at this point, Veni, Vidi, Vici is definitely going to get wrapped up. So a couple of key volleys for Prussian Prince ended up leading to that battle being pretty decisive. What was originally a stalemate quickly turned into a rout. And again, that is kind of how the cookie crumbles in Fall of the Samurai. It's not always the case. I've seen players get hit with some horrible volleys, and then their luck turns around very quickly if someone makes a mistake. But if the other player gets you with some nasty volleys at first, and they don't make any mistakes, or you can't get them to make any mistakes, then you're definitely gonna suffer. But yeah, you can see here that the forces of Veni, Vidi, Vici being pushed back with heavy losses. The gun general is doing his best to kite back and keep firing. Definitely a good choice, but he's still catching a stray shot or two, and is going to die eventually. Not enough firepower to overcome the problems that are being experienced by the main army. Got line infantry here routing. That's a Black Tortoise force routing, and you can see these other infantry pushing up hard. So yeah, this one's going to be another big victory for Prussian Prince. So he is up 2-0. If he wins the next game, he's going to take this series, and I will see you all in that next game. Hope you enjoyed this one. All right, here we are back on Game 3 between Prussian Prince and his opponent. I'm just going to call him Vini to make this easier. Yeah, at this point, it's going to be Game 3 on Alpine Ridge. Prussian Prince is up 2-0. If he wins this, he's going to take the series. If he does not, then it will go to Game 4. So this is a make-or-break moment for Vini, and we will see how he does. Alpine Ridge, really like this map. Lots of flat space, but just this little bit of terrain right here in the center makes for some very tactical play, because it's also right next to two key buildings. Right here you got the sword dojo, and then over here you've got a farmhouse. Not going to be like the most important things ever. I mean, there's an archery dojo that's a shrine. Just off the map, so that's not available, and this would be the archery dojo, and it is also off the map. So neither one of those available, so the two key buildings, sword and farmhouse. I wonder if anybody altered their build for this map, because sometimes this map can allow for some aggressive rush play, but at the same time, as soon as you clear this hill and get out in the open, your guys are going to get the crap shot out of them. But let's see if the standard armies still apply for these players. Most players seem to be sticking to their army mostly no matter what. The Boki has been replaced with the Bokachi. Very interesting choice. Going to provide... Oh, and here we do have a Tosa Rifleman. It's going to 175 range Tosa Rifleman on top of that. So very long range. These guys can fire while hidden from the woods. It's unlikely that a competitive player is going to leave their troops within range of such a thing. So this is a pretty considerable investment right here, a very considerable investment, and it's going to be questionable as to whether or not that pays off. If it does, it would be cool to see, though, because I really love Tosa Riflemen as a unit. United States Marines and an Infanterie des Marines, so two elite infantry on the field this time for Prussian Prince. Still seeing the 4 Yariki. Yes, maybe traded out the revolver cav. Nope, still got the revolver cav. That's the old faithful, I guess, on this game. So the 175 range Tosa Rifleman. This is a decent map for them to get to use that, because there is lots of open terrain when you get them in the right spot. But they do have to be level 9, I believe, to get the 175 range. Very expensive unit. Again, though, very deadly if it can maintain the range or stay in a forest while firing. Just kind of taking a look at the overall battlefield. Let's look at some of these infantry. White Bear, Black Tortoise, so pretty cheap infantry over there. This is just cavalry backing bows, but I like this. This is bows using this line of sight to exert their range without fear of being shot back. And these revolver cav to protect them, and Yariki as well. So that's a pretty nice setup there in the center. And then a Red Bear infantry backed off just a little bit so that it can see the crest of that hill. So that if indeed the revolver cav wasn't enough to scare something off, that will certainly do the trick. Let's see where the Tosa Riflemen end up at. Right now there's a building blocking their line of sight, so that's not going to be the ideal place for them. I don't know if this is going to be a lot of stalemate at the beginning or not, so I'm going to fast forward for a while until we get some action going. Leave it to me and I'll miss it too. Yep, got action going over here. The United States Marines get hit by a unit in the forest. That's just a White Bear infantry, so that's a pretty great trade for Vini at this point. And that unit goes hidden again, so the U.S. Marine cannot retaliate. So a nice position for that unit. It basically nullifies this long range right there from that unit until Prussian Prince gets eyes on it with another unit. So very good positioning right there by Vini, I believe. Go ahead and fast forward again. That Tosa Rifleman trying to jockey up for some position. Prussian Prince obviously going to pull away and hide his men from it. Can't blame him one bit for that. Thought I heard gunshots, but I was wrong. On this flank, Red Bear, U.S. Marine, another Red Bear. Big gap right here, though. Prussian Prince. Oh, a cavalry charge up and over the hill. The revolver cav not present when they needed to be, and so a nice charge there, destroying the Bokachi, and also killing a ton of the White Bear infantry, allowing his infantry, the Black Tortoise force, to move up. So a very nice charge by Prussian Prince, but let's see whether or not he can capitalize on it. Sword Dojo is in control of Vini, and that's a pretty big deal since there's a lot of melee going on here. Now, this Yariki making its way up and over the hill, and it is going to be ugly. If it gets to that revolver cav, which it does, it's going to wreck them. Let's see over here. Tosa Rifleman on the run, but protected by a hidden unit of Red Bear infantry, so very nice there. Another Yariki trying to push the gap. Prussian Prince's general in big danger here. In fact, he is probably dead at this point. Might be able to get him out of there alive, but I'm thinking he's dead. And with the death of that general, that could mean the loss of this battle for the Prussian Prince. I was hoping to see those Tosa Riflemen get some action, but right now they're not even needed. That Sword Dojo is making these melee engagements go pretty heavily to the favor of Vini at this point. The engagements have gone very favorably for him so far, other than that original charge into those Bokachi. Looks like the general for Prussian Prince did survive, which is big for him. And at this point, U.S. Marines kiting back, and we're getting some nice damage done by these Red Bears. I'm not sure why the U.S. Marines are kiting away from this Black Tortoise force. They would destroy it at this point. We do have an Infanterie de Marine, which is actually in melee at the moment. I don't know if that was purposeful or not, but it's up in melee, pulling through, actually. I don't think that was intentional, because now it's getting hammered. The Tosa Riflemen, only 15 kills so far. They're falling back from 2 infantry that are pushing forward. If he can just keep those infantry busy, the Tosa Riflemen can turn around and fire. So yeah, at this point I do not see Prussian Prince being able to turn this one around, but it's not over yet. There still is an elite infantry over here. This flank got broken, but you've got this long-range rifleman left, and you've also got a little bit of Yariki on the field here, and that could make a big difference. Long range here with the Bokachi as well. Yariki is actually not wavering. That could be a problem for sure. Yeah, Prussian Prince is going to actually take this flank now. Let's go ahead and fast forward for a second to let the next phase of this battle unfold. We'll see whether or not the units for Vini stabilize. His general got killed, and that's why his men are wavering. But he's pushing hard at this point. Understandably so. He's got numbers and range, and he's going to want to get away from that U.S. Marine. But let's see how this goes. So an interesting push going on right now by Vini. If he gets too broken up, a couple of mistakes, and Prussian Prince could turn this around. Let's see how it goes here. Prussian Prince still has his general, so he's got a little bit of mobility. A little bit of cavalry left for Vini at this point. The Bokachi here, very nice. Going to be able to push back this U.S. Marine. Get a few kills here. Won't be much, but you know they can keep them from getting close enough to be effective. This could be bad, though, if he loses the Sword Dojo. Let's just keep fast forwarding and kind of see what happens. So both players kind of trading positions on the map at this point, just due to necessity. And of course, the Tosa Rifleman being able to keep some of Prussian Prince's infantry back, which is very handy for him at this point. Wavering again from the Yariki. He does not want that unit to rout, but it very well could. Okay, the Bokachi once again using their range. They're going to be able to put a couple of kills on this Red Bear infantry, but we'll see. Actually, it's going to be pretty effective at this point. But nice shots here from the United States Marine. The Yariki potentially going to get to them alive, though, but then also Prussian Prince's general might be able to swing around here and make a decisive hit, too. If this U.S. Marine gets taken out for Prussian Prince, it's going to be rough. I don't know that this Yariki will be enough to get it done, but it might be. The Yariki was not. And now the general for Prussian Prince. Ooh. Yes, so that's going to be rough for Prussian Prince. His morale is going to suffer badly at this point. Since the death of the general was so long ago for Vini, I think at this point he's going to carry the day. So potential for a comeback there, but I don't think it's going to happen. Yep. So Prussian Prince concedes defeat, and I will see you all back on the final replay between these two. The Iwaki foothills. So this is an interesting map for Fall of the Samurai, a very interesting map. This one is going to be a challenge for these players. It's going to be a real challenge because the line of sight gets ugly on this map. There's big hills. There's choke points because of the lines of sight, and there's going to be key buildings though that are going to want to keep those players moving forward because they're not going to want to give them up. I'm going to do quite a bit of fast forwarding because this episode's getting pretty long at this point. Terms of army composition, looks pretty much the same for Prussian Prince. There is an Imperial Guard cavalry on the field though. That's an interesting move because of the cover from line of sight. May be able to use that to get some quick shots here and there from behind cover. So again, interesting choice. Don't know if it'll pay off, but it might. Where did that Imperial Guard cav get to? Okay, all the way to the flank. It's a 125 range Guard cav. Let's see. Not seeing anything too extraordinary except for this 150 range White Bear there. No marine units used at all, I don't believe, for Vini, which is an interesting choice. I've never seen players not use marine units. Now, there's some engagements going on over here. These Red Bears, looks like they push back these Yariki, so that's going to be a terrible start for Vini, having taken the losses there from this this Red Bear infantry. I hear more shots going off over here. Vini gets a nice volley off with this 150 range White Bear. Kills 25 of these White Bear. So this engagement going very well for him right now. Almost 40 kills before Prussian Prince realized it and got his guys out. If this Imperial Guard cav can kind of keep pushing the flank and potentially keep putting pressure, I think this will be a very handy unit for Prussian Prince and a very nice map for it. Just because it's going to be hard for infantry to keep it from getting around the flank. Now it's being charged by Yariki, and this is Revolver Cav, and it's fleeing, and rightfully so, but the Revolver Cav is going to have to now flee from Yariki. Is this infantry positioned to support? Ooh, yeah, pulling back from there. So this is a dangerous game of cat and mouse over here. Prussian Prince's Yariki does go ahead and commit. And the Imperial Guard cavalry is coming around the flank to try and get shots. Bit of an infantry push here from Prussian Prince, and he is starting to gain an advantage on this flank. White Bear infantry being quickly wrapped up. Another Black Tortoise force that is off the field. Imperial Guard cavalry is alive and fleeing from an incoming Boki, which is trying to catch it in combat. It would probably defeat the Boki in combat, but Prussian Prince just trying hard to keep it alive. His general actually up in combat here too. So now Prussian Prince just going all in on the flank of Vini, and it is going well for him right now. And if he keeps wrapping up the flank, it's going to be very hard for Vini to do anything about the numbers game. So at this point, it's looking very poor for Vini. He's lost a lot of cavalry. Prussian Prince still has a lot of maneuverability. Imperial Guard cav and a Revolver cav around his flank. I mean, these things in my mind spell certain destruction. I could be wrong. And it's going to depend on whether or not Prussian Prince continues to execute his strategy properly like this, which so far has been very good. And I like I said, I really like that choice of the Imperial Guard cav on this map, and then I like what he did with it, immediately taking it to the flank. It's like having a unit of line infantry that's a lot faster, and it gives him an advantage on this map with otherwise a lot of broken line of sight that takes a long time for infantry to cover. Azure Dragon Force up here on the hill getting some shots. Let's see. Originally, this flank was going fairly well. This long-range unit for... ooh, yeah, here comes a Yariki that's going to get into all these infantry. These infantrymen are now dead because of the nearby Revolver cav and Imperial Guard cav. These men are not going to be in good shape. So a Bokachi caught. This infantry is just fleeing. And these White Bears are going to be slaughtered. The Imperial Guard cavalry comes in for melee now, too. Nice supporting fire up here, though, from the woods. But then another nice cavalry charge from Prussian Prince, just wrecking this Black Tortoise force. And at this point, the wave of Prussian Prince's army is just not stopping. He's pushing very hard, and at this point, the numbers game is heavily in favor of him. His revolver cav actually wavering here because of its being behind enemy lines, but charging up here and getting shots straight into the bodyguard. Oh, just annihilating the bodyguard of Vini. So that has got to be the nail in the coffin at this point, or in this case, the bullet in the coffin. So well played by Vini. I mean, he didn't win this series, but you know, he used slightly different armies. It didn't work out for him here with the bows. I get what he was going at, though, because the bow units do give you a range advantage that can sometimes do well over a blocked line of sight. But in this case, like I said, didn't work out for him. But well played by Prussian Prince. He is a good player on Fall of the Samurai, and definitely not any shame in losing to him. and having won one game out of the series and put up a pretty good fight in some of the other battles as well. Definitely nothing to sneeze at on the side of Vini. So well played by both players. Enjoyed it. Hope you all enjoyed these matches. Let's just kind of watch these Black Tortoise force finish off the battle. This game is beautiful. Hope you all have been enjoying these replays. There will be plenty more. And I will see you all back in the next match. It'll probably be more round 1 matches if I have it. If not, we'll move on to some of the round 2 matches. And if you are in this tournament and you're watching this and I don't have your replays, feel free to send them to me. I'd like to cast them. My viewers appear to be enjoying these replays a lot. I know I am as well. Let's watch this line fight, point blank line fight right here. Woo! So yeah, they're going to rout out of that one. Yeah, if I don't have your replays and you want me to cast them, feel free to send them in. I mean, I may even cast the whole tournament if I get a chance. HeirofCarthage, signing.